QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022 OneNote presentation. Month 1 reports. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. If you have access to OneNote, would like to follow along, icon left-hand side, topic introduction 7320, month 1 reports tab. Also take a look at the immersive reader tool, topic introductions in the text area 2, same name, same number, but with transcripts. Transcripts that can be translated into multiple languages and either listened to or read in them. Same name and number as presentations as well. Topic introductions designed to give an introduction to the topic, provide screenshots, links where applicable, give accounting background to complement the presentations and can be used to follow along with them if you don't have access to the software at that time. Closing the icon on the left-hand side, we're starting off with a screenshot of the home page, moving on to the standard types of reports that we might be putting together at the end of the month, possibly for external use to be reporting to someone like a client or supervisor, and some reports possibly for internal use. We would obviously then be recording and showing the balance sheet and the profit and loss in some way, shape, or form. We might then want to be memorizing our reports for external reports and internal reports to make reports that would be best suited for presentations, possibly to clients, and internal reports best suited for us for our internal use purposes. Obviously, the profit and loss would be another crucial report. Pretty much any time we would be wanting to make a profit and loss report. We might then be generating a trial balance. This would be more of an internal type of report, remembering that it's going to be the balance sheet in essence on top of the income statement type of report, but it doesn't have all the subtotals, so it can be a much easier report to look at in internal usage formats. Also, one of the best reports to look at if you're reviewing your numbers, because it's one of the easier ones to tie out to due to it not having all those subtotals. We're also going to take a look at a transaction list by date. So if you're checking your work to the work that we are doing, you want to check the ending numbers on the trial balance or the balance sheet and the income statement. And then if there's a difference, go into the transaction list by date. And if everything was correct at the last point in time in the last section, this should be the information that will be the adjustments, the changes that should end you at the same point in time at the end. So you can tick and tie basically the amounts on the right-hand side, and you have the dates to basically to tie out, and then the types here to tie out as well. This is also a really good report for internal usage to review, say, the work of a supervisor. It's a great work in an instruction situation for a classroom or a review type of situation because you can see exactly what someone has done for a particular time range. It may also be a report you want to use to set up your billing system. Instead of billing by hour, for example, you might say, hey, I'd like to bill by how many transactions I've done, possibly using this report for that. You can also try to use a journal type of report, which can give you more detail and try to charge by, in essence, the number of actually accounts that were affected. But we're going to export all these then. I'm going to export these and just get the idea of how would we be putting this information together to present to, say, a client. We could, of course, email, but we'd have to do that one at a time. We could export them as a PDF and then group them together. We can also make an Excel sheet with all these on one tab and then create one PDF file using something like a Qt PDF printer. So that's what we'll do here. We'll export the reports, export the transaction list by date. We'll also put them all into Excel as well, exporting them to the same Excel worksheet. So now we got the balance sheet, the income statement, and then the trial balance and the transaction detail information. And then if we use the Qt PDF printer, we can actually print all this information onto one PDF file. We can also use the landscape format here on a PDF format, which will still kind of visualize it and show it as something that you can see. It's not going to be twisted around and nowadays when you open them, which is nice. So these are the options you kind of have to give it to someone else. You could put it into one folder and try to attach all the reports to then an email. It's a little bit nicer to zip it because then you've got all that information into one folder. And then you could give someone the Excel file, but that's probably not what you're going to give them. You might use the Excel file in order to create this one, which is one PDF file that has all the reports in one place that would look something like this. Notice that this one was landscape and it doesn't twist it sideways, so you got to tilt your head to read it. It actually puts it, and you can read it in the proper order here, which is really nice. these days. So you get all the reports in one area, which might be one of the more impressive ways to report it and give the information to a client and the easiest for them to handle.